Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today, a Saturday, and of course, I think happy Easter, everyone. And so today we have like four guests, and we will talk about a topic that I think a lot of people really resonate with a lot of people. So the topic today will be really focused on the layoff and how to cope and how to overcome all the emotion and and try to stay positive and stay in a positive mindset for the future. And I had four different speakers in mind for that, and I really try to have people speaker from different fields of background and different experience, and as well located in different countries. So we have speaker from Toronto, speaker located in Paris, and as well for sure speaker located in Cork. And so that's amazing as well to have everyone different field, different background, and everyone can share this experience and try to give some tips and share the experience. So for if that can help someone, and that would be so great after this event. So let me just first share the the my the stage with the speaker. So the I will present. The first speaker will be if you can present yourself. I will start with Yasmina. If you can present yourself.
Hello, everybody. Happy Easter. Thank you for joining us on a Saturday. So, I'm Yasmina Mathurin. I'm an IT recruiter. So, I'm based in Toronto, Ontario, so in Canada, for those who don't know. So, yes, I'm just going to be here as a recruiter to give you my input on how to process, how to present yourself, and how to sell yourself as well. Then, thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Yasmina. And I will keep going with Patricia. If you can present yourself.
Sure. My name is Patricia, and I founded Leap Coaching about 10 years ago. And in that business, I support people primarily to understand what fulfilling work looks like to them, and also how to get it. So CV writing, interview skills training, and then the other finger to the business is supporting people to overcome career challenges, so such as layoff or burnout. And I'm delighted to be with you all today.
Thank you very much, Patricia. And so I will jump in with Fatou. If you can present yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, my name is Fatou. I'm the founder of Top of the Pile, a career coaching and consulting company that I launched about 4 years ago. And I specialize in helping multilingual professionals and expats stand out, get hired, and thrive in their careers in general. So, I'm very excited to be talking about this topic today.
Thank you very much. And the last but not the least, Diane from Cork, JCI Cork member and
Hi,
active member.
everybody. Thanks for including me today, Pam. I was honoured to be asked. My training is originally in clinical radiography. So I've worked as a clinical radiographer for 14 years. And in the last 2 years, I entered the academic world, so teaching radiography students. And I've also done some training in counselling and psychotherapy, another area I'm very passionate about. So I guess I would come in more from the emotional intelligence side of things about kind of, yeah, managing what Pam mentioned at the start, managing your emotions around, like Patricia was saying there, maybe career change or different obstacles that can come up in your personal and professional life, and just how to overcome them.
Oh, that's really interesting. So I think actually everyone will be have really have a lot to share, and I can't wait to hear what you have to share today. So let's just kick off with my first question. Was really a question I will try, to ask everyone because I really want to see what your point of view on every topic. So let's just kick off first with the we talk about the layoff a lot. Everyone saw the news. A lot of for since last year, so a lot of company had like every were in the news every weeks of every month with the new information about new layoffs, new company letting people go. And I think that create like uncertainty for like in the way you see life, how you see the future for you. So I wanted to know first, if we can start with how do you see, how do you outcome the fear of the unknown after knowing that you see that your company, the news is there, and they are from that there will be layoff in your company, but you don't have any date yet, you don't know anything, but you just know that that will happen. So how are you coming that unknowing? Let's just start maybe with Patricia, and then we jump in a bit around. Yeah.
So definitely, it's a time of great uncertainty for a lot of people, and if you see, from what you were just saying there, if you were to hear that your company is thinking about doing layoffs and you're not sure whether it's your department or not, I think the first thing to do is actually just, it would be useful to have a conversation with your manager and just ask them if they've heard any news or whether your department is looking like likely to be one of those areas cut off. But I think it's also useful just while you're still working there, just take a chance to actually reflect on how up to date is your CV, your LinkedIn. If you were to be let go tomorrow, is there anything that you could start working on now to support your chances of getting work as soon as you can? So taking action that's in your control when there's a lot that's out of your control, I think is a useful thing to do.
Thank you. And what do you think about it, Fatou?
Yeah, Patricia shared great tips here. Definitely, my biggest advice would be focus on what you can control. So get yourself ready. Just in case, just in case anything would happen to you personally, it's time probably to update your resume that people are not usually doing consistently. Um, Maybe reach out to your connections already, just to know what's out there. If you can also reflect on your career journey so far, and if the opportunity arises for you to to move to a new industry or to decide on a different trajectory, just to be clear on your past accomplishments, reflect on your career journey, what you would like to do next. um, Try the best as you can to stay positive as much as you can, and even if this happens, just remember that it's a temporary setback and that you can definitely bounce back from it. But yeah, that would be my tips here. Focus on what you can control, take actions already if you can, and get support.
Thank you very much. That's really like insightful. And yeah, Yasmina, if you can share maybe some tips as well, because like located in Toronto as well, that that hits differently than Europe. So how, yeah, if
Yes, somehow, yes. And I totally agree with Patricia and Fatou. You cannot control this. So my biggest advice would be to try to distance yourself on a mental health point as well. Just wait to discuss with your manager. If you're impacted, then only you can take actions. After, of course, you're going to update your CV, talk to your connection. It's really important, as mentioned by Fatou. But also, as long as it's not official, don't overstress. Okay, because you might not be impacted, and in case you're impacted, so you can just take that opportunity to think about what you really want to do, what to achieve, and maybe change career. It might be an opportunity. We mostly take it as a bad thing, but sometimes it can just be a blessing to just focus and recenter on what are really your goal.
Nice. And you were talking about don't overstress before. So, Diane, like we could talk about the mental health and the well-being around that. What
Yes.
you will, advise, because I think it's
So I
important.
agree. Yeah, I agree with everything that my colleagues were saying there so far. I just think what you can control is key straight away. And I suppose you need to, first of all, live in the moment. You can't go 3 months down the line what's going to happen. So this predicting, anxious predictions where you're saying to yourself, oh gosh, and it's easy to do. And I mean, I understand people have so many different responsibilities, mortgages, kids, etc., vast responsibilities, but all you can live is the day. And it is such a simple thing to say, but you have to live to the day. So number one, looking after yourself, I guess, is key. So I mean, it sounds basic, but just you might get a shock when you hear news like that. Whatever works for you to center yourself, calm your stress down, not go ahead in your mind, be it a walk, meet with a trusted friend, just meditate, whatever works for you. Then you can deal with it. Because if you're all anxious, overwhelmed, in an emotional headspace, you're not in a position then to be maybe going in and having a chat with the manager about your concerns. Settle yourself first, and then you might be able to see what the story is with the company, you know, and will it impact you? And yeah, I would just say keep it to the day. Try not to go too far ahead in your mind with anxious predictions. Where will I be 6 months from now? And I understand it's easier said than done,
Yeah,
but look after yourself
exactly.
first. Come home to yourself first.
That's really like a great tips actually, and I think we can use them as well for different, not only for that, but in different situation. So
100%.
now let's just think about, okay, that happened to me. I just got the news. First, I know that you talk about, start, Patricia was talking about, update as well, the LinkedIn and everything. But if you could share each one of you, maybe one skill that actually they should maybe try to think about learning, for, that can be transferred in a different field of, different company in the future. And of course, I understand that different field require different skills for sure. But I think that sometimes now recruiter in 2023 look for some skills more than 10 years ago than 5 years ago, because I think the industry as well is changing. And so which kind of skills do you think that will be like really transferable, at least start to work on them now, and then after that, just in case. If you can start maybe with, let's start with Yasmina first. And
Okay, so regarding the skills, I'm in the IT world, so I'm not gonna be specific regarding the skills, but I will give an advice: certification based on the field that you're at. Just inform yourself. Let's say if you're a project manager, for example, do the project manager certification. So at least you have this clarification, this bonus on your resume to say, yes, I have the experience, I have done the job, and I have a certification that can back this up. So at least another company will use that. So yeah, just try to stay up to date and do other certifications that you might be able to do. So for the next company, it's going to be very useful.
Oh, thank you very much. And that's true, because as well we see a lot of information everywhere about a lot of university as well providing some certification even for free. So it's really like accessible. So we don't
Yes.
looking for someone thinking about, oh, now I have to pay that much money. I just got the information, but like me leaving my job. So you don't need to stress out about what you have to pay for those certification. Yeah, Patricia, if you have maybe as well a tips.
Yeah, so there's, I suppose there's two bits around skills. I would say one, I think for some people when they hit redundancy, like a lot of the speakers today are sharing, it can be an opportunity to change careers. So if you're thinking that if this happens, it's something that you might like to take advantage of. In terms of skills, just really useful to get really familiar with the skills that are required for the area you want to move into, and actually do an audit in terms of what do you have, what's transferable, and is there anything here that I can see there's a trend I don't actually have this one, because you can start building up on that now. And one of the best pieces of advice I ever got around skills and transferable skills, which I think is really valuable, is actually to invest in your communication skills, regardless of whether it's redundancy or not, every year. So I really recommend for people to invest in interview skills training. Like if you're going to be looking for work, it really stands you and it stands you for life. So that's my tips.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very interesting. And Fatou, if you can share as well a tips.
Yeah, so I'd say to reflect on the skills you already have, that you've gained all over your career so far, that you can easily reuse in any future employment. So I'm thinking of soft skills mostly, so communication skills, just like Patricia mentioned, adaptability, teamwork, flexibility, adaptability to change. Every company now is introducing themselves as fast paced, fast growing, etc. So just to make sure that you'll be comfortable to demonstrate that you're comfortable in those environments. So it's okay. It's great as well if you can take a recent certificate in the chosen field, for sure, because it's very reassuring to have a recent diploma qualification. But I usually realize by talking to people that they have the skills that they need to move to another industry, or a career path, but it needs the time. You need to take the time to reflect, actually, and to make sure that you have scenarios in mind, or specific examples of how you are able to demonstrate those skills in the past.
That's really great. I think that people, I hope that people taking notes, because actually a lot of information today are like really great. And I think that sometimes some, let's say, coach or training ask you a lot, a lot of way to get to what the knowledge of today. And I think you have a lot of the best people in the call today to give you some skills and tips and everything, information. So take notes. And actually, we were talking about the skills and everything, but I know I always wanted to come back to you, Diane, on the mental health and the well-being. Um, Maybe which kind of then the mindset now you need to go forward with, if you have like maybe some tips on that one as well, because you already share a lot of information about how to be prepared for if something happens, but now if it's happening, how the person should look forward of what he can do to offer to
Yeah.
move forward and
Yeah.
to use in the future as well. So.
Well, I think, as the other ladies were saying, communication comes into every field and every part of your life. So that's very important straight away. I had, resilience is a big one. And that links into what Fatou and Yasmina were saying about adaptability. Because, I mean, if there was one very good example that should give us all confidence, um, it's how we adapted to the recent pandemic. It just shows how adaptable we are as human beings. We are so much stronger than we think. So I think reminding ourselves that we're strong is a very good thing. A practical thing, I found myself there when I was trying to decide on different paths I was about to take, trawling other people's LinkedIn. I would really advise building up your LinkedIn from a practical point of view and making as many connections, not even just in your own field. Yes, I would be linked to a lot of radiographers, radiography lecturers, but also my other area of interest that I'm not fully qualified in, the psychotherapy and counselling, and see, what did those colleagues do to get where they are now? Not even just from a money making point of view, but an actual happiness point of view. What do I want that's going to make me really happy? And it sounds so, obvious, but I mean, it really is at the heart of everything, because it's very obvious to all of us when somebody is happy in a job or unhappy in a job. If you even walk into a hair salon, I can tell straight away if there's a good team dynamic or not. So I just think, looking after yourself, again, volunteering, I think is a great way to look after yourself, because it gives you that feel good factor. And I have done it myself in between roles and things, because there is a little bit of a thing, and I'm not sure if it applies to everybody, but I'd imagine it would apply quite across the board, that if you're between jobs and maybe you went for a promotion, maybe you didn't get the promotion, and now you're searching, and maybe you haven't done an interview in 3 to 6 months, confidence sometimes can just go down that little bit. But if you have volunteer work, well, I did do something good today, and it sounds very basic. It gives you something to talk about in an interview as well. So sorry if that's a bit long-winded, but I could talk all day on it.
No worry. And actually, you said something interesting about voluntary, because I think
Yes.
in the meantime, between the time you get the news,
Yes.
and the next job that you get, you have like free time. Of course, you have to get back to yourself, but I think voluntary brings something on a new thing, on your value, on your skills, on your resume and everything. But at the same time, you're still meeting people, so you have that connect. You don't lose the connection with the other, the people around you, and that's something important. Not stay alone. That's something important as well, because when we lose that, we can go to a dark side, so I think it's important to voluntary is everyone, and there's so many fields as well you can voluntary in, so it's really about depending on the choices.
And
And
nowadays you can volunteer from home as well. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
One of my volunteer work, I go out into the world, so that's with JCI. But with the other organisation I volunteer with, 50808, it's a mental health crisis line. I can do that from the comfort of my own home. So even if finances are difficult for people, to commute or whatever, to go out and do volunteer work, or they have small children at home, you can still volunteer from home. So
wow.
that's another thing to consider, and there's so much need since the pandemic for mental health support. So there's a lot of those mental health support lines that are now in place.
Okay, that's great. I didn't know that was the second one. And we talk about the voluntary, and I wasn't done. I wanted to jump on that and ask a question about, let's say now you have interview line up, for a new job after like a period of 6 months not working after a layoff. Which tips will you give actually how to explain the layoff, why you have a gap and during that period and on the next interview? Let's just start now with Fatou, please.
So yeah, my first tip would be to be honest and not try to hide that you are laid off in your past with your past employer. Definitely, depending on how much time it took, you want to show the recruiter that you've taken the time to be clear on what you want, that you're not just applying out of this despair, right? That this is the right opportunity for you, the logical next step, that you've reflected on your past accomplishments, your strengths, your skills. So definitely honesty. Show also that you have a positive mindset. So avoid at all costs, I'd say, to say anything negative about your past employer. You might have your reasons, obviously, to feel negative feelings, but focus on the positive and what you've learned within that time frame. So that would be my key
And
points.
yeah, thank you very much for sharing. Yeah, Patricia, if you have any other tips on.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Really good advice, especially in terms of keeping things positive, because it can be challenging if we feel we've been hard done by. And I totally agree to be honest about what's happened. And I think it's easier if it was in the press. You can start off with, say, you might have seen, there was whatever amount. And I think it's just really useful just to give the data back where appropriate. So say 200 people in my firm were laid off, or if it's very obvious to you from your CV that they used a system of last in, first out. It could be very obvious from your CV that you weren't there long, and say they actually let go predominantly anyone who's most recently hired. So it helps showcase that it wasn't personal, and you can focus back on where you can add value as soon as you can in that way. But I wouldn't worry about it, particularly if it was one that was really public, because so many people are doing it at this time. I really don't see it being an issue. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. And yeah, Yasmina, I think Patu and Patricia say so many things. I don't know if you can add something, then something different from the other side of the sea.
Well, thank you, Fatih and Patricia, for saying that, because it's really important. And I will add that do not lie, because we process background checks and we know. Okay, so it will be a bad start if you start lying, and because it's not your fault. Just keep that in mind. It is not your fault. So really stay positive about it. Of course, you can be a little bit bitter because you've been in the company, you like the company, and you didn't want to leave. However, stay positive, because you're still representing the company you've been working with in the past. So it's really important to be honest, be transparent, and positive. And just try to explain it in a way. We all know, especially in 2023, we all know what's been happening the past month. We are aware. Of course, if it's regarding your results, performance, you can put it in a positive way. I will give an advice. Let's say you have not been let go because of economics reason, but only because of your results. Just reflect on it, and you can be honest and say, okay, so I've been let go because my performances weren't up to requirement. However, based of that experience, I know what I will do in the next opportunities. Okay, I took this time. This happened to me. I'm not happy about it. Of course, it's painful, but I've done the work. I've done the research. I self-reflected, and I know what I will not, the mistakes I will not do again. So just be transparent, and we're all adults, and it's not easy. So just be kind to yourself, mostly.
Wow. Actually, I think I'm learning a lot about the mindset today. I didn't even expect to that level, but thank you very much, guys, for everyone. Now let's just go back to another question I had in mind. Let's say now you have a friend of a colleague, who just gets laid off, and what what should people avoid to say to them, and how, and then what kind of tips will you give to that person if it's your friend, a colleague? So if we can start first with maybe Diane and jump in after that again.
Yeah. So I actually have an experience of that recently, where I was trying to advise a trusted friend who, like that now, didn't have the best experience in a recent role. And I suppose number one, I offered to read her CV for her. So I printed out her CV and I went through it, and I gave her very, honest, and gave her compliments, because I just thought that, she had a lot more varied experience in her background than I realized she even had. But I suppose, yeah, not patronizing a friend would be the main thing. I would say being honest and being constructive with any criticism, but knowing the right time in order to do that. Somebody might need, personal and professional life is mirroring in certain ways, in the sense that I suppose if you've been very disappointed by a professional occurrence, then maybe the person might need a little bit of grieving time. So perhaps just advising them, look, take maybe a step, breathe, and maybe a few weeks just to clear your head. What do you want to do? Because, even myself at times, where I've kind of decided to leave one role and transition to another, you want to come at applying for new roles from a place of calm and a place of confidence. You don't want to come at it from a place of panic. And I know it's easy to say that if you're not under financial pressure, but I guess number one, a person practically in Ireland, if they're just after being laid off unexpectedly or had to leave due to, for example, bullying or whatever reason, has to go about, seeking financial supports from social protection initially, get that sorted. Then from there, if, you come from a place of calm, what do I want to do now? Heal. You need to heal before you don't want to bring, without going on too long, I had an experience in one role previously that wasn't the best, and I didn't want to bring that negative energy into. You want to go into a new role with an open mind. You don't want to bring your hang-ups. It's kind of like a hangover from a past relationship, a hangover from past experiences. You don't want to bring that into your new role with you. You want to heal first.
That's really great. And Fatou, if you have as well something you can, tips that you can share regarding, a close friend or even a friend that you will know has been impacted, and what we should avoid to say. And
Sure. So I'd say most friends obviously would want to provide words of support and encouragement, and this is what you would expect from a friend, right? But sometimes when you're trying to be optimistic, you might come across a little bit as condescending. And by that, I mean, you might say to a friend who's been laid off, you will find something quickly because you're great, and be overly optimistic about the length of time it will take for that person to to find a new role. And to be honest, it's good to be supportive, but you also need to be realistic, and it might take some time and effort from the other person, and they might feel actually discouraged or feel there's something wrong with them if they don't find this new job quickly. So I would say it's important to find a balance between, I'm here for you, I can help you maybe with resume review, just like Diana offered, or interview preparation, or connect you to one of my connections that could help you, but at the same time not put any pressure on that friend to get that new job quickly, and not so that they don't feel that there's something wrong um, if they don't land a new opportunity very soon. So that would be my piece of advice. Most of the people mean well, but sometimes we might say the wrong thing, even saying I wouldn't thought this would happen to you, as if nobody
Yeah,
is expecting that from anybody. I mean, it just happens, right? It
yeah,
doesn't reflect on the person competence or personality. Most likely
yeah.
it's very random. So yeah, just be mindful not to say the wrong thing.
That's really great. And I think we don't know exactly what happened in the mind of someone else as well. They can be your friends, we know them, but like literally we don't know what's happening at home. That's really something that we don't share usually. So some nice word can impact more than we think. Yeah, and Patricia, if you have something as well that you want to share.
Yeah, I agree, with Diana and Fatu. Like, it's a very delicate conversation, and I suppose just an awareness that it is delicate, and not to presume, because we don't know. Like, for some people, you can get the news of redundancy and be delighted. You actually hated your job, and it's like, this gives you a chance to have a new start. For others, they might have loved their job and it's heartbreaking, or obviously real financial concerns or burdens. So there's a multitude of ways this can be, and so not to presume that the way you take it is the way they're going to take it, and so ask real open-ended questions. And really be attentive to what they're saying. So, like, if they share that news to you, how are you feeling? You know, because, like, even that answer will tell you something, or I'm thrilled, or I'm devastated, or whatever it might be. So really, I think that initial first time that they're sharing this with you is really just offer real listening space, and open-ended questions, and feeding back and listening to what they're saying, and feeding back from that. And where appropriate, then you'll know what's best. Sometimes it'll be appropriate if you know that there's something you can add value in, or you can be of support, and other times it might be just give them a hug, cup of tea. Yeah.
The tea help a lot. I agree. It is really a good remedy to spend, to try to cope with what you feel. So thank you very much. And now the last part, I had like so many questions, but now I wanted to know. We talk about the person who just left the company, but I think that those, when someone leaves the company, the team in that way as well, let's say when you have a good team work environment, so people work together, like you start to be closer to each other, so you create that environment when you come to work and you're happy to see people. I hope at least that is that. I think it should be like this, but everyone has different, of course, uh, work environment. But the person is leaving, but I think as well that impact the team as well, that's stay there, because it's like, okay, that happened to that person, he left, but then, oh, now we have to go back to work and keep going like nothing happened. But still you have, I think, a lot of emotion around that. And as let's say as a team, like how the team should be, like moving forward, beside all the thing happening. And let's just kick off with Yasmina, and then we go with Diana as well, because I want the mental health and then well-being as well, and then we go back to Fatu and Patricia.
So when this happens, this is the responsibility of the management team to ensure of the well-being of the team, because you will have to set up interviews, set up meetings, group meetings, and then one-to-one, just to make sure that everyone is okay with it, or if they need to share something, because it might impact them, because we've all been in that situation where we have a close colleague that probably just going to leave the company because they want to, or will be um, let go. So communication, just listen to your employees, open up a safe space so they can feel comfortable, and also you need to reassure them. because sometimes we have okay, so it's going to be 10 people of this team gonna go, and then the remaining, you have to reassure them that they won't be impacted, if you know, of course. Just reassure them and communicate. We keep saying communication, but
I
it's
know.
really
I heard of
key
it.
in every aspect of our lives. It's really important. So we need to communicate. We need to listen. So that's why you need to let them express themselves and say, okay, so I'm a little bit scared because I don't know. Does it mean in 3 months we're going to be impacted as well? And it's your duty to say, okay, no, if you know. If you know, you need to reassure them and say no. But of course, don't set expectations if you have an idea that maybe there will be another wave in 3 months, because
Hmm.
then it's going to have a terrible impact on the team as well. So you just need to be transparent as a team lead and
Yeah.
offer your support and be understandable, because it's huge on the team as well, because they're going to be scared. They will have questions, and some of them might even start looking for other opportunities just in case they might be
Yeah.
impacted. So
Yeah.
you need to take that into consideration if you're a team lead, and really communicate with your team and reassure them. It's just, we're human being after all, so we need that as well at work.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think the communication part is important because it's a trust. It's like you have kind of you build the trust with your manager of and the company at some point. So if you miss that communication, and I think that the team will be like, okay, why should I trust you if you don't communicate? So I think it's important as well. And where a lot of company, like good company, I think really does that, communicate, and that's what we like. How can I say that? That's the way to communicate. Show some employee that okay, actually, I'm valued as well. So and that's why I'm like, I like this the way this company and the value, the way what they bring. That's some value, even though that can happen, I'm still like counting for a person that, as a human, they understand that feeling around that. So yeah, I agree on that. And Diane as well, if you you want to share
Just
something.
just to clarify, Pamela, this is if somebody has been laid off and now they're being reintroduced back into the team, isn't it?
No,
And
it's
you're
more like
working. No.
the person was let go, and the person was let go of the team. However, the team dynamic has been impacted. Found the people are impacted and everything, but then you're supposed to go back to work like nothing
Oh,
happened. So it's
sorry.
really hard. No,
Okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
So it's really about how the mindset of the team, how you find some tips that you can give to the team that stay, how to cope with as well that kind of it's a small trauma. We don't even notice that, but that impact us because then it's like we have so many trauma actually in life, but
Yeah.
that can impact you because if someone you were close to, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a loss, even though it's not, you have different loss, but this one as well can be a loss, a loss for you. So yeah.
So if you're the team lead, I
Yeah.
guess,
Mhm.
I suppose linking in with what Patricia said earlier, don't assume how people are feeling. I guess you don't know the individual relationships that the colleague had with the team members. You don't know, maybe somebody was very close to them on a personal level, for example. Also, yeah, I guess refocusing people's minds. What is our goal here? Maybe a team meeting, just like what is our goal here, for the
Mhm.
future, and linking back again to what Yasmina and Fatou were saying earlier about honesty and vulnerability, and in the interviews, I suppose, not making any false promises, like somebody touched on earlier, being honest, reassuring, but treading that line carefully, and being as, if you are asked a question, are we going to be impacted by this a few weeks down the line? If you don't know, admit you don't know, and
Mhm.
that maybe you can offer to look into it for them. But yeah, I wouldn't be I would just be very careful, with making sure I didn't give any information that wasn't factual, because chances are in a situation like that, maybe nobody knows. It probably just depends on without being in the business sector, for example, it probably just depends on how next month goes and so on and so forth. So just being mindful that, people haven't just been impacted on a professional level, maybe on a personal level too. So, yeah.
That's really great. Yeah, that's really. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, that's really great. And yeah, Patricia, uh, if you have something as well.
Yeah. So I'll take the question from a different slant, because I think if you're on a team, and hopefully the team lead, as Jasmina and Diana were saying, would facilitate that. But let's just say you're on a team that doesn't happen, and you were really good friends with this person, and to your point, Pamela, it almost feels like the person has died, because they're literally no longer there. I think all of us can take leadership roles. You don't have to be an official team leader or a leader to take a leadership role. So, particularly, if there were some of you who got on really well and now this person is gone, to actually take that leadership role, and if it's not being facilitated, to try and facilitate yourself, just actually in a sense almost like honoring the dead, like honoring them and expressing what you miss about them, expressing the value that they had, and kind of treating it like you'd like it to be treated if you had gone. But also, to Diana's point, try and do bring it on, acknowledge them, acknowledge your feelings and what's happening, and do try to bring the focus at the end really into, how can we make the most of this, how can we make the most of the situation you're in, so that it's not completely heavy either at the same time, but just to honor them in that way, I think it might help. Yeah.
Wow, that's. I think a lot of people connected, to have tips. But now we get to the well-being, the mental health today. That was really, really, really great, actually, guys. I'm very happy. And so, Fatu, I had actually a quick question, because a few weeks ago when we were talking about me trying to, setting up this call and share, we have like different speaker talking about, how to overcome, to be resilient. You say something as well when we talk about the team. It's really like maybe trying to help the person, like you say, maybe trying to go on LinkedIn and give like a feedback, a positive feedback or something like this, right? If you can just share with the team, because we were talking just really just in discussion, and I think that was a great idea as well.
True. Yeah, definitely. First, I want to say thank you for everything you just shared. Obviously, I'm in a completely different situation because I haven't been laid off, but I left my team that I loved a week ago. And even though it was a voluntary choice, I'm still myself grieving a little bit from the team structure, environment, the individual people. So, yeah, definitely, I think it's on both sides. I th- what I did in that specific scenario is just to say thank you, obviously individually where I could, and to post on LinkedIn and say thank you again to the team. But yeah, I just wanted to say that it's never easy, whether it's voluntary or not, to leave a team where you felt connected with your colleagues and your mission and your job. So I just wanted to say that. And if you want to help a coworker who left, I think one of the best ways to offer practical help, actually, you can offer practical help, we mentioned that, but to surprise them maybe, and just leaving them a LinkedIn recommendation, because that will definitely help them with a job search, that will boost their confidence. You don't have to receive an invitation. You can just go on the person's profile and spontaneously leave a glowing, or honest, actually it doesn't have to be glowing, but usually it's positive, right? But to leave an honest and truthful recommendation for that person, that will be public to everybody on LinkedIn, and that will definitely boost their job search. So that was something that came up when I was chatting with Pamela. Something easy to do, but we, most of us, I guess, don't always take the time to do that, and that can be definitely a huge help. And in terms of the manager, if the manager doesn't have all the resources to support individuals in the team, it's always good to remind them that there are support available, and most companies have an employee assistance program where they can benefit from free coaching, free therapy or counseling, and other type of support. So as a manager or team lead, if you don't have the tool yourself, to handle everyone's emotions, at least make sure that the people know where they can look for support. I just wanted to add that.
That's really great. Actually, we are getting closer to the end, but actually, I just noticed something now. I have a question. Now, everyone actually has a background, have work. Despite Diane was more the hospital, like all the different field, but you have worked, for a big company, and I think most of the people, you try to coach, or coming to you for advice, or or trying to apply for bigger company and everything. But what will be now the advice you will say for someone working in a small of medium business, because it's maybe something different, because the way the team is, the way it's, people are closer as well. If that something different that you will say that you will not say to a person who work for a big company, because the dynamic is totally different as well. Because in smaller company you have maybe less colleagues, you have like direct with you have contact with the CEO of the company. And yeah, so if another tips that you could give to someone who's working on a small medium business, maybe that we didn't talk about it today. I don't know if you want to jump, who want to jump, maybe Patricia, and then we go around.
When you say tip, Pamela, tip in
Advice, something. Yeah, what for everything we talked today about, like, I think there was really actually more focusing on maybe like bigger company, like, and I think that how, I don't know if that the impact is the same on smaller company. However, I think that because it's smaller company, that's other thing to take in consideration, because the team is smaller, you have and the connection that you have with people around you. I don't know, maybe I'm going too far as well in my brain, so I don't know. Because I think that working in a big company, you can be like, okay, tomorrow, after a while, you can go and apply directly another bigger company. It's different than when you have depend of the field you're looking for. Maybe sometimes some of the fields are more difficult as well to jump to, how you say that, to we bounce back from that and then trying to look for something else in the same field. So I don't know if you get me. Yeah, I have so many things about
like part of me, to be honest, feels that when you work for a smaller company, in terms of looking for work, like a lot of it is the same in the sense of knowing your value, knowing what the needs of what you're applying for, and kind of matching up with that. I think part of what you're saying, Pamela, is that are you saying that for some people working in larger organizations, some of the skills that they might have are more on demand than might be? Is that the angle you're thinking?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so, like, if you feel or that your skill set is not in demand right now, or that you will find it more challenging to find work, in a sense, part of this is saying, look, if there's going to be more redundancies coming, and I don't want to be in this position, what can I do to strengthen my skill set, or what kind of roles can I move myself towards that are more that are not as vulnerable in the market right now, and to start looking at it from that lens in terms of what are the possibilities or opportunities. And then in terms of that close-knit team that you're saying, in terms of when it's a smaller organization, it's really important to make sure that your ties are good, like that when you leave, that you leave in really good terms, even though it was an unfortunate way to leave. And so that you're on a really good basis, because a lot of people, we find jobs through people. And so, that network, just like it is in a larger organization, is really important, and to keep that strong. To me.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. You got the answer for what I was saying. Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, Yasmina, if you have something as well that you want to share about around that.
I think it's mostly the same. Well, as Patricia said, also big corporation, smaller one, it's always the same values. Well, you need to understand what are the values of the company you're working for. But how to bounce back, I will just give one last advice. Use your connection, use your network. Also, if you know people who works in a company, give them your resume. Go through the company website, check for the position you are interested in, and then talk to your people. Might be ex-colleague, friends. Talk to them, give them your resume before you apply, because in the uh, job world, when you're looking for a position, it's really a added value if you've been referred by someone, because if
Mm-hmm.
we give your resume, this person is vouching for you. Rather than if you're just applying on the
Mm-hmm.
website, it's
Mm-hmm.
better if it come from inside. So really talk to your people and update your resume, adapt your resume to the position you are applying to. I know sometimes we're just lazy because we don't want to modify the resume. We have one and we're just going to use it for every single job. No. I'm sorry, but no. We cannot do that. We need to adapt and just
Yeah.
use the keywords on the job description. You need to step out, and you need to do a little bit of work when you're applying, and that goes through your resume and all the information you're going to put when you're going to apply to a job. So just think about all these little details, but that will have a great impact on the interview process.
Thank you very much. And yeah, Fatu, if you have as well a last word around that.
You mean final tips?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, definitely. If you've been impacted by a layoff recently, or if you feel anxious around that, I would say it's normal to experience all kinds of feelings. So I think we mentioned that, but don't be too harsh on yourself. Be kind to yourself. Feel your feelings, because you can't really, set goals, move
Mm-hmm.
forward if you don't take the time to readjust how you feel, and to shift your perspective, and to see the positive, because there is definitely
Mm-hmm.
a positive on the other side of that. So be patient, be kind to yourself, take the time that you need. Some people can,
Mm,
after some news, jump straight into job searching mode and applying everywhere.
mm,
Some can't, they just need some time off, to spend with family, to recenter themselves, take a break if you can afford it, a proper break, and then move forward. So don't feel that you have to rush
mm,
to get your next role. Take the time that you need, if you need to process your feelings first. That would be my last tip, I guess. And then from there, definitely have a plan, get support if you really don't know where to start, whether it's, again, we mentioned friend supports, former colleagues, but you can also go straight to a coach or mentor, someone neutral. Someone who will not try to give you suggestions, that will really ask you the right questions so that you can come up with your own answers.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, remember that it's a temporary setback, and that you have all the skills, the resilient skills, to bounce back from this.
Thank you very much, Fatu. And the last of the list, as we started, Diane, yeah, if you have a final tips that you give.
Yeah, I suppose from a practical point of view, adapting your cover letter, particularly somebody else said about adapting your CV, particularly if it's an area that you're trying to break into and you're really trying to impress upon people, that I have transferable skills here. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's very important, because otherwise they might be thinking, oh, how does this person relate? And they might know a lot about your previous roles. They might
Mm-hmm.
exactly know what that job entails, but if you can
Mm-hmm.
really focus on the transferable skills, both in the interview itself, if you get the opportunity, and on your cover letter and CV, upskilling where appropriate. Once I was just listening to Fatu there, and I was thinking about what I said earlier about that some people need kind of grieving time, but one size doesn't fit all. I think that's another thing to say, as in one plan doesn't fit all. Maybe some people, they thrive on just jumping right back in there and applying all around them for new jobs. And maybe other people need a week or two or a few months to lick their wounds, if they can afford that. Um, Make sure you ask it's very practical, and everyone knows this already, I'm sure, but make sure you ask your referees in advance of giving the next job clearance to contact them. If you are struggling, like emotionally, there are an awful lot of free in this country, and I'm sure it might be the same in many countries. On a personal level, there are a lot of free resources nowadays for therapy and counselling. There's also low cost counselling as well. And I loved what it was either Fatu or Yasmina said about shifting your perspective. And I've had to do that myself at times. If I went for a promotion, say, and if I didn't get it, and instead of walking away feeling, oh, it's a shame now that I'm leaving, I would say, well, at least now I have X amount of years under my belt experience in that place. And it's not easy to do that, but sometimes you do have to flip your thoughts on their head. And also in terms of the small industry you were speaking about earlier, or even if you have personal bonds with people, I think it's probably more, wouldn't it be great, like life isn't perfect, but wouldn't it be great if colleagues reached out and said, you know, how are you doing? And you know, it's up to the person then themselves if they feel in a position to continue the personal relationship with the person. Yeah, because I suppose you're always trying to, if for example, if you've been laid off and if your really good friend is still at the company, you want them to empathize with you, not feel sorry for you. So wouldn't it be great if they reached out and said, would you like to meet up for a cup of coffee? And then, you know, you could just see, you know. But I do think it's the person that's left. I'd imagine it's nearly their decision whether or not they want to continue the relationship on a personal level. But I don't see the harm. Coming back to what the colleagues were saying there earlier, I mean, you'll hear things. You'll hear things even from a professional perspective as well, whether or not, oh, the company will be taking on people again soon, you should apply, or, you know, that kind of thing. So that's it for now. Yeah.
That's amazing. I had a lot of information today. I hope I should have taken notes actually, but I hope that everyone who was watching today were able to take notes. And literally, if you have any question regarding any information located you, you know, the other side of the sea, in IT, you can always reach out to Yasmina and ask you just question and everything and advice. And of course, based in Cork, Ireland at least, you can always reach out to Patricia's big and Leap Coaching, located in Cork City. But of course, I think that she can help everyone around, you know, the island. It's not a problem at all. But you can reach out and see what they provide, which service they provide. I think that you don't need to stay alone on the, if you have, you know, you are counted that, you can reach out and find a way to, you know, to just keep going with that. And of course, if you're based in France and of course Fatou work in Ireland as well, so you can, and she's more for French speaker as well. So if you have any question, tips, if you want to go to work, you know, have an experience outside France in another country, English speaking country, or other tips, you can always reach out to Fatou. She has as well a lot of service that you can provide. And the last but the least, Diane, thank you very much. If you want to get more information about JCI, voluntary mental health, Diane is your person to go. So JCI Cork, you can go on the LinkedIn page of, you know, Instagram, of you know, all the social media, and I think all of them have like those social media, so you can easily find out those information. If you have questions, you can always pin us on JCI Ireland, you know, send us a message. We will reach out to the person you want to reach with those questions, and they will get back to you on that. But I really appreciate that you find the time today, Patricia, Fatou, Yasmina, Diane, for finding the time on a Saturday morning for some and afternoon for the other to come. I know that you will celebrate Easter for some, and then of course you are in the Ramadan for others. So it's really like, and I really love this multicultural, you know, background, because everyone has different skills and I enjoy it. So I don't know if you want to say something before we finish. Yeah, let's start with Patricia first. One word before we finish.
Yeah, I just say my tip would be dwell in possibility. That's my last word. Dwell in possibility.
Thank you. Yeah, Fatou.
No, I just wanted to thank you, Pamela, for hosting this discussion, very important discussion. And I'm still technically a member of JCI Cork, and I really support what the organization is doing. So I just wanted to congratulate you for hosting these talks and taking your free time to do that as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Yasmina.
I will second Fatou on thanking you, Pamela and GCI. It was a great conversation. I hope everyone have learned a lot. And yeah, as mentioned, you can reach out to me for any questions. I'm worldwide, so it's okay. It doesn't need to be about Canada and Toronto. I can do Europe too. So yeah, thank you again.
Thank you. Yeah, and Diane, the last word of today.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say thanks very much, Pamela, for including me today. And I just wanted to say that I've actually learned a lot myself, even as one of the speakers here today, from the other colleagues as well. So thanks for that. And just final words would be that none of us have ever arrived. We are always learning. And that certainly is true for me today. So thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you.
Profound.
That was a good one. Last. Thank you, guys. And I'll see you next week with a new topic. Have a nice day.
Okay.